Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Meeting between federal government and academic staff universities ends in a deadlock. Lecturer strike continues. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo brands inciting and inflammatory comments as terrorism, warns of the grave danger posed by hate speech to the world. Federal High Court sitting in Lagos orders forfeiture of over 437 million naira linked to a serving federal permanent secretary. And van plows into crowd in Spanish city of Barcelona, killing at least 13 persons and injuring 32. Police describe incident as terror attack. A reminder to you that for more on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also watch us on the go on your mobile device. Log on to m.channelstv.com or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. We also have the Eyewitness feature, so you too can be part of the news. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and then follow the instructions to share the pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Now we have some of those pictures and let's share them with you. We can begin with a video this time showing a demolition exercise by the Ogun State government at Alagbule. Our Eyewitness reporter wants the relevant authorities to ensure payment of compensation and also hopes the road construction ongoing there is completed in time. The next picture is of a damaged pedestrian bridge in Onitsha, Anambra State. Our Eyewitness reporter is concerned about the danger this might pose to users. And here's one showing the bad state of the road in Kurmi in Taraba State. Eyewitness reporter claims the road has been abandoned for years and is calling on the state government to fix it. The final photo shows another bad road in Darinkoa area of Jos in Plateau State. Eyewitness reporter says the road makes movement difficult for commuters and wants the government to do something about it. Thanks a lot for all your pictures and send us some more if you can. Now let's get a bit more perspective on our lead story about the gains made by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Let's take a look at what our correspondent Shola Shuele has to say.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission approached the Federal High Court Lagos pursuant to Section 17 of the Advanced Fee Fraud Act of 2006 to seek an order of forfeiture of some property and sums linked to Mr. Clement Onubuogo, a serving permanent secretary in the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment. In documents put before the court, an investigator of the EFCC, Hulejitu Kura, said the commission uncovered how Mr. Onubuogo diverted 876.9 million naira out of a sum of over 10 billion naira released by the Goodluck Jonathan administration for various Shore-P programs under the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment. Further investigations by the EFCC showed that the permanent secretary was saddled at the time with the supervision of the programs via the Shore-P Technical and Vocational Educational Training and Community Service, Women and Youth Empowerment programs under his ministry. He allegedly used this opportunity to divert the funds to his personal use through front companies and workers serving under him. One Ojeagu Global Service Limited, a company said to be owned by his family, with an account domiciled in Zenith Bank, was allegedly used to convert the sum of 159.7 million naira, which the permanent secretary was said to have subsequently laundered. The EFCC also told the court that it had recovered a total of 129.8 million naira from some of the permanent secretary's co-conspirators. And after listening to the submissions of Rotimi Oyedepo, the counsel to the EFCC, Justice Abdulaziz Anka granted the interim forfeiture of the sums. The court also granted the interim forfeiture of another 437.3 million naira and 137.6 $800,000, monies which the commission claimed it could not give satisfactory account of. Also mentioned in the forfeiture order is a building described as a mansion and located at Ecom Quarters in Delta State and a hotel in Asaba, also in Delta State. The EFCC told the commission that both buildings belong to the Perm and are also reasonably suspected to be proceeds of unlawful activity. After granting the interim forfeiture order, Justice Anka directed the anti-graft agency to notify the PERMSEC to appear before the court and show cause within 14 days, while the properties and the monies should not be permanently forfeited to the federal government of Nigeria. The court also directed that the interim order should be published in the national newspaper for anyone interested in the sums and the property to appear and show cause, while a final forfeiture order should not be made. Justice Anka then fixed the 6th of September for the final forfeiture hearing. From the Federal High Court, Lagos, Shola Shieli, Channels Television News.
And from there, let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Markwe. Markwe.
Well, thank you, Ijoma. The Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, today visited President Muhammadu Buhari in London. While Saraki and Dogara's visit comes just 1 week after the President's information team, headed by the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, visited President Buhari, who's been away on medical vacation for more than 100 days. President Buhari is insisting he would only return to the country on the advice of his doctors. The president's absence recently triggered protests from different groups, one of which is asking for his resignation or return to the country. Other groups do not see anything wrong in the president's continued stay in London since he handed over power to his deputy, who is now the acting president. Well, back here in Nigeria, at least 62 people, including children, have been killed since the outbreak of an unknown disease in Yagba West local government area of Kogi State in the last 2 weeks. There are fears that the death toll might increase as health authorities dispel insinuations linking the deaths to an outbreak of Lassa fever. The Kogi State Commissioner for Health, Saka Audu, told Channels TV that the deaths could be as a result of food poisoning.
Incidents in Okoloke in Yagba West local government area that has led to the death of about 62 people as at yesterday started a few weeks ago, and it is categorically not a case of cases of Lassa fever, because earlier one of the patients was investigated last week, and we took sample in collaboration with WHO, and the result came out negative for Lassa fever. This test was carried out in Federal Teaching Hospital Irua in Edo State. So it is categorically not a case of Lassa fever. But one thing is common with these patients, according to their mode of presentation. They present with abdominal pain, vomiting, and diarrhea. Few of the patients had hematochezia and hematemesis, that is blood in stool and blood in vomiting. We have taken samples from the available water supply and from the common foodstuff available to carry out further investigation.
Or staying with health-related matters. Now, 2 people have been arrested in Kano State, northwest Nigeria, with over 10,000 cartons of expired drugs. The suspects, a Nigerian and an Indian, under a company name, Sterling Healthcare, are accused of rebranding the products in such a way that members of the public would not know they're expired. Still in the residential apartment converted to a warehouse, the police public relations officer in Kano State confirmed to journalists that the men used the apartment for their despicable act.
We arrested a man that brought tramadol from Lagos up to Kano, was 19 million of naira, and he was not arrested from anywhere until he came to Kano. We got him arrested. He packaged them in the LG television like plasma TV package. We get him arrested. Now, our men who are working with this committee on surveillance, on intelligence gathering, arrested some of the boys who were given 1,500 naira each to rebrand this carton.
We didn't bring them here. It was already here. When it expires, we tell the NAFTAC people that there are some expired goods here. Please come and collect it and dispose it off. It's a formality which we have to do it. So we send a letter to them. Then they come, the officer comes, the inspector comes, he checked. The inspector came, he checked all the drugs and he said, okay, I will get it picked up.
And in other news, Nigerian broadcast media executives converged in Lagos today to discuss the challenges and opportunities faced by the industry in the digital switchover. The meeting comes ahead of the organization's International Summit on Digital Broadcasting in Nigeria, scheduled for Tuesday next week in Lagos. Bon Zonal chairman in charge of the Southwest region, Mrs. Funke Moore, addressed the gathering. She said the upcoming summit will also emphasize media content security.
As broadcasters and media practitioners in Nigeria prepare to switch to a digital platform, it is important for industry practitioners and stakeholders to fully understand the new digital environment. That is, what it entails, how they can deliver value to their consumers, and extract maximum benefits from the analog to digital switchover in Nigeria. In achieving the above stated objectives, 8 presentations will be made and 5 discussion sessions will be held within the 2 days. The summit will feature renowned local and international speakers and resource persons who will showcase global best practices and also share experiences, whilst outlining practical strategies, plan modalities to enable the broadcast media industry to achieve the best outcome for digital broadcasting.
Well, that's all from Abuja. It's back to you, Ijoma, in Lagos.
Thanks a lot, Mark Bear. The Presidential Lodge in Marina, Lagos, has been handed over to the state government following the approval of the President Muhammadu Buhari. The President has entrusted the edifice to the state for tourism development, and a memorandum of understanding was signed to formally transfer ownership of the lodge to the state government.
Officials from the presidency led those from Lagos State on a tour of the Presidential Lodge Marina ahead of the handover. The pre-independent structure, which has served as the official residence of past presidents in the colonial and post-colonial era, has been less utilized since the Federal Capital Territory was moved to Abuja. The request to have the building released to the Lagos State government finally comes true with the execution of a memorandum of understanding signed by representatives of both parties. The state government takes delivery of the house with symbolic handover of keys. It couldn't have been the challenge of maintenance, going by the look of facilities within the house. The Permanent Secretary, State House Abuja, however, refuses to explain the reason for the handover.
We are transferring and handing over State House Marina to Lagos State Government in the spirit of togetherness. Nothing has changed. It's still within the same country. So nothing is lost. That's just the intent, and that's what is. These are the contents of the MOU.
The Lagos State government, however, has its plans for the structure.
It is a historic site, a tourist delight, and a place that you can be proud of. That people who have visited other places, you go when you visit other countries. You've been to Washington D.C., you've been to Brasilia, you've been to Singapore, you've been to several places and so on. We all go around, we see a lot of things, we visit several places, and we come back to say, I've been to this place, I've been to this place, and so on. We want people to come to Lagos and Nigeria and say they've been to this place and so on, and they are very proud of what they have seen.
Going forward, the Lagos State government has promised to ensure that the building is perfectly transformed without compromising its structural integrity and architectural beauty.
When the news at 10 returns, our big story tonight takes a look at the reluctance of internally displaced persons to return to their homes in the northeast following renewed attacks by insurgents. Do join us again.